Smart English Studio.
Have you ever had a problem and you knew the answer in your head, but you couldn't explain it clearly in English?
Maybe you wanted to say, I think I know what happened, or let's figure it out, or we need to compare the options, but the words didn't come out naturally.
Today, we are going to practice problem-solving English.
You will hear a natural conversation between Eva and Daniel. They have a problem with a booking, a work task, and a small misunderstanding, and they need to explain what happened, think through the details, and find a solution.
And while we talk, we'll explain useful verbs and phrases like figure out, work out, deal with, sort out, check, compare, decide, solve, fix, identify, consider, evaluate, and resolve.
This lesson will help you sound calmer, clearer, and more confident when you need to explain a problem in English.
So listen carefully, repeat the useful phrases, and think about a time when you had to solve a problem.
Let's begin.
Daniel, I'm glad you're here because I have a small problem and I need to figure it out before this afternoon.
Okay, let's look at it calmly. First, tell me what happened.
That's already a useful phrase. Tell me what happened. We use it when we want someone to explain the situation from the beginning.
Yes, when there is a problem, the first step is usually not to panic. The first step is to understand what happened.
Exactly. So here is the problem. I booked a table at a restaurant for tonight, but now I can't find the confirmation email. I'm not sure if the booking went through.
Good sentence. I'm not sure if the booking went through. This means you don't know if the booking was completed successfully.
Yes, go through is very useful. We can say the payment went through, the order went through, or the booking went through.
And if something didn't work, we can say the payment didn't go through or the booking didn't go through.
Exactly. So I need to check whether the booking went through.
Okay, let's figure it out step by step.
Figure it out means to understand or find the answer after thinking.
Yes, for example, I don't understand this problem, but I'll figure it out. It sounds natural and common in everyday English.
So what should I check first?
First, check your inbox. Then check your spam folder. Sometimes confirmation emails go there.
Good. Check is simple, but very important in problem solving. We check details, check emails, check the time, check the address, check the information.
Exactly. Many problems become easier when we check the details.
Okay, I checked my inbox, but I don't see anything.
Did you check the spam folder?
Yes, I checked it too. Nothing.
Then let's think of other possibilities. Maybe you used a different email address.
That's possible. I sometimes use my old email for bookings.
Good phrase, that's possible. We use it when we want to show that an idea may be true.
And another useful phrase is maybe. Maybe I used a different email. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe the website didn't send a confirmation.
Yes, maybe is useful because it helps you suggest possibilities without sounding too sure.
So, should I check my old email?
Yes, let's check that before we make any decisions.
Before we make any decisions, that's a useful phrase. It means we should not decide too quickly.
Exactly. In problem solving, we often say, let's check first, or let's not rush, or let's make sure.
I found it. The confirmation email was in my old inbox.
Great, so the booking did go through.
Yes, it did. That was easier than I expected.
Good phrase, that was easier than I expected. You can use it when a problem looked difficult, but the solution was simple.
So in this little problem, we used tell me what happened, check the details, maybe, that's possible, figure it out, and the booking went through.
Exactly. And notice, we didn't solve the problem by guessing. We solved it by checking the details.
That is important. In English, when you explain your reasoning, you can say, first I checked, then I realized, after that I decided.
Those phrases help you explain the steps clearly.
Let's create another problem.
Okay, imagine we are working together on a small project and something has gone wrong.
Good. Maybe we're preparing a presentation, but the file won't open.
Classic problem.
Very classic.
Okay, let's act it out.
Daniel, we have a problem. The presentation file won't open.
All right, don't worry. Let's see what we can do.
Don't worry is useful, but we have to be careful. Sometimes people don't want to hear only don't worry. They need a plan.
Exactly. So it's better to say, don't worry, let's see what we can do. That sounds supportive and practical.
Yes, it shows calm action.
What message appears on the screen?
It says the file is damaged.
Okay, so we need to identify the problem.
Identify means to find or recognize what the problem is.
Yes, it's a little more formal than find, but very useful. We can say, we need to identify the cause, or we need to identify what went wrong.
So the problem is not the computer. The problem is the file.
Maybe, but let's not assume too quickly.
Good word. Assume means to believe something is true without being completely sure.
Exactly. In problem solving, it's useful to say, let's not assume. That means we should check before deciding.
So what should we do?
First, try opening the file on another computer.
Okay, if it opens on another computer, then maybe my computer has the problem.
Right. If it doesn't open on another computer, then the file is probably damaged.
That's logical.
Yes, we are comparing two possibilities.
Compare means to look at two or more things and see what is similar or different.
For example, let's compare both options. Let's compare the prices. Let's compare the results.
I like that. In real life, problem solving often means comparing options.
Exactly. So we have option 1, the computer has a problem. Option 2, the file has a problem.
Let's test option 1 first.
Good phrase. Let's test option 1. It sounds clear and organized.
Okay, I tried opening the file on another computer and it still doesn't open.
Then we can probably say the file is damaged.
So we have identified the problem.
Yes, now we need to fix it or find another solution.
What's the difference between fix and solve?
Good question. Fix often means repair something specific. For example, fix a file, fix a phone, fix a mistake, fix a broken chair.
And solve means find the answer to a problem.
Exactly. We solve a problem, solve a mystery, solve a math question, solve a difficult situation.
So we can say we need to fix the file or we need to solve the problem.
Perfect.
What can we do if the file is damaged?
We can check if there is a backup copy.
Good idea. Backup copy means another copy saved somewhere else.
Yes, and this is a useful phrase. Do we have a backup?
Do we have a backup?
I think we do. Check the shared folder.
Okay, I found an older version.
Great. Is it complete?
Not completely. It's missing the final 2 slides.
Okay, then we need to work out how much time we need to recreate them.
Work out is similar to figure out, right?
Yes, work out can mean to find the answer or calculate something. For example, we need to work out the cost, or we need to work out what happened.
So, figure out is more like understand, and work out can be understand or calculate.
Exactly.
I think we can recreate the final 2 slides in about 30 minutes.
Good, then the solution is simple. Use the backup copy and recreate the missing slides.
So we solved it.
Yes, we solved the problem by identifying the issue, comparing possibilities, checking a backup, and choosing the best solution.
That sounds very organized.
Yes, and it's useful in work situations. If someone asks, how did you solve it, you can say, first, we identified the issue, then we compared the options, after that, we chose the best solution.
That sounds professional, but still natural.
Exactly.
Let's make another situation. This time, a communication problem.
Good idea. Many problems are not technical, they are misunderstandings.
Yes. For example, imagine I sent a message to a friend, but she misunderstood me and felt upset.
That's a very real problem.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, let's talk about how to deal with that.
Deal with means handle a problem or manage a difficult situation.
Exactly. We can say, I need to deal with this problem. She's dealing with a lot right now. Or, how should we deal with this situation?
So if someone misunderstood me, I can say, I need to deal with this carefully.
Yes, because feelings are involved.
Daniel, I think my friend misunderstood my message. I said I was too busy to meet, but she thought I didn't want to see her.
Okay, first, try to understand her point of view.
Good phrase. Try to understand her point of view. That means try to see the situation from her side.
Yes, when solving personal problems, logic is important, but empathy is also important.
So I shouldn't immediately say, you misunderstood me.
Exactly, that can sound defensive.
What should I say instead?
You could say, I'm sorry if my message sounded cold. That wasn't what I meant.
That's much better.
Yes, it explains the problem without blaming her.
Useful phrase. That wasn't what I meant.
Very useful. You can use it when your words were misunderstood.
For example, I'm sorry, that wasn't what I meant. I meant that I was tired, not that I didn't want to come.
Exactly.
Then maybe I can say, I still really want to see you. I just had a very busy week.
That sounds warm and clear.
So the solution is not only to explain the facts, but also to repair the feeling.
Beautifully said. In relationships, you don't just solve the problem, you also restore trust.
Restore trust sounds a little formal, but useful.
Yes, it means to build trust again after a misunderstanding or problem.
What about sort out? Could we use it here?
Yes, sort out means to organize, fix, or resolve a problem. You can say, we need to sort this out, or I hope we can sort things out.
So I could say to my friend, can we talk later? I'd like to sort this out.
Perfect. That sounds mature and kind.
And resolve is similar but more formal.
Yes, resolve means to solve a problem, especially a serious or formal one. For example, we resolved the issue, or they resolved the misunderstanding.
So sort out is more everyday and resolve is more formal.
Exactly.
Let's make another problem, but this time about choosing between two options.
Great. Decision-making is a big part of problem solving.
Imagine we need to choose a place for a group meeting. One cafe is cheaper, but it's noisy. Another cafe is quieter, but more expensive.
Good situation.
Daniel, we need to decide where to meet. The first cafe is cheap, but it's very noisy. The second cafe is quiet, but it costs more.
Okay, let's compare the options.
There's that phrase again, compare the options.
Yes, we use it all the time in decision-making.
Option 1, cheap but noisy. Option 2, quiet but expensive.
Now we need to consider what matters most.
Consider means think carefully about something before making a decision.
Exactly. For example, we need to consider the cost. We should consider the time. Or let's consider everyone's needs.
So here we need to consider the purpose of the meeting.
Exactly. If the meeting is casual, maybe the noisy cafe is fine. But if we need to discuss something important, the quiet cafe is better.
That makes sense.
Another useful word is evaluate. It means to judge or think carefully about the value, quality, or importance of something.
That sounds more advanced.
It is a little more advanced, but still useful. For example, let's evaluate the pros and cons.
Pros and cons mean advantages and disadvantages.
Exactly. Pros are good points, cons are bad points.
So the pros of the first cafe are it's cheap, close, and easy to find.
The cons are it's noisy and crowded.
The cons of the second cafe are it's quiet, comfortable, and better for conversation.
The cons are it's more expensive and a bit farther away.
After comparing the options, I think the second cafe is better.
I agree. It solves the main problem because we need a place where we can hear each other.
Good phrase. It solves the main problem.
Yes, sometimes an option looks good, but it doesn't solve the main problem.
That is very useful. For example, if I buy a cheap microphone but the sound is still bad, it doesn't solve the main problem.
Exactly.
So our final decision is the quiet cafe.
Yes, we considered the purpose, compared the options, evaluated the pros and cons, and made a decision.
That sounds like a complete problem-solving process.
It is.
Now let's talk about mistakes. Sometimes when people explain problems in English, they sound too direct.
Yes, for example, saying you made a mistake can sound harsh.
What can we say instead?
You can say, there might be a mistake, or maybe there was a misunderstanding, or could we check this together?
Those are much softer.
Yes, polite problem-solving English is very important.
Instead of saying, this is wrong, you can say, I'm not sure this is correct.
Instead of, you didn't send it, you can say, I don't think I received it.
Instead of, you confused me, you can say, I think there may have been some confusion.
Exactly. These phrases help you explain problems without sounding rude.
That's important in work, travel, restaurants, emails, and everyday conversations.
Yes, English often uses softer language in difficult situations.
So if I have a problem with a bill in a restaurant, I shouldn't say, this bill is wrong. You can, but it may sound rude. Better, excuse me, could we check the bill? I think there may be a mistake.
Perfect. Polite, clear, and calm.
If my order is missing something, I can say, sorry, I think something is missing from my order.
Yes, or could you help me sort this out?
That sounds very natural.
Yes, could you help me sort this out is a great phrase for real life.
Let's practice a short restaurant problem.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I think there may be a mistake with my order.
Of course, what seems to be the problem?
I ordered the vegetarian pasta, but this has chicken in it.
I'm very sorry about that. Let me check with the kitchen.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
We'll sort it out for you right away.
That was short but very useful.
Yes, the key phrases are, I think there may be a mistake, what seems to be the problem, and we'll sort it out right away.
I like what seems to be the problem. It sounds polite and professional.
Yes, you may hear it in shops, hotels, restaurants, and customer service.
Now let's practice a work problem.
Good idea.
Daniel, I noticed that the report has 2 different totals. I'm not sure which one is correct.
Okay, let's check the numbers together.
I think the first total includes tax, but the second total doesn't.
That makes sense. So the difference is probably because one total includes tax and the other doesn't.
Good phrase. That makes sense. It means the explanation seems logical.
Yes, and the difference is probably because is useful for explaining reasoning.
So we can say the problem happened because, or the difference is probably because.
Exactly.
Should we update the report?
Yes, let's add a note so people understand the difference.
Good. That solves the problem and prevents future confusion.
Excellent phrase. Prevents future confusion.
That sounds professional.
Yes, in problem solving, a good solution doesn't only fix the current problem, it also prevents the same problem from happening again.
That is a very useful idea.
Let's now create a simple structure for explaining a problem in English.
Great.
Step 1. Describe the problem.
For example, the file won't open, the order is missing, I can't find the confirmation email.
Step 2. Say what you already checked.
I checked my inbox, I tried restarting the computer, I checked the details.
Step 3. Suggest possible causes.
Maybe I used a different email, maybe the file is damaged, maybe there was a misunderstanding.
Step 4. Compare possible solutions.
We could call the restaurant, we could use the backup file, we could ask for help.
Step 5. Choose the best solution.
I think the best option is, let's do that. That should solve the problem.
And step 6. Explain the result.
It worked. We fixed it. We sorted it out. The problem is resolved.
Perfect.
Let's make a full example using that structure.
Okay, here is the situation. My phone stopped receiving emails.
Good.
The problem is that my phone stopped receiving emails this morning. First, I checked my internet connection and it was working. Then I restarted the phone, but that didn't help. Maybe the email app has a problem, or maybe I need to update it. I could delete the app and install it again, but first I'll check for updates. I think the best option is to update the app first. If that doesn't work, I'll reinstall it. Hopefully that will solve the problem.
That was excellent. Clear, calm, and logical.
And not too complicated.
Exactly. You don't need very advanced English to explain a problem well. You need clear steps.
That's encouraging.
Let's do one more example. This time, a travel problem.
Okay.
Our train was canceled and we need to get to London before 3 p.m.
Right. First, we need to check alternative trains.
I checked the app. There is another train, but it arrives at 3:20.
That's too late. What about a bus?
The bus is cheaper, but it takes too long.
Could we take a taxi to the next station and catch a faster train from there?
That might work.
Let's compare the time and cost.
The taxi costs more, but it saves almost an hour.
Then it may be worth it.
Good phrase. It may be worth it. It means the benefit may be worth the cost.
Exactly. We can say it's expensive, but it may be worth it.
So the best solution is to take a taxi to the next station and catch the faster train.
Yes, that should get us there on time.
Perfect. We solved a travel problem.
And we used natural English. Check alternatives, compare time and cost, it may be worth it, best solution, get there on time.
Now let's review the most useful phrases from today's conversation.
Great.
Phrase 1. Let's figure it out.
Use this when you want to understand or solve something. For example, I don't know what happened, but let's figure it out.
Phrase 2. Let's check the details.
Use this before making a decision. For example, before we call them, let's check the details.
Phrase 3. Maybe.
Use this to suggest a possible reason. Maybe the email went to spam. Maybe there was a mistake.
Phrase 4. Let's not assume.
Use this when you don't want to decide too quickly. Let's not assume it's broken. Let's test it first.
Phrase 5. We need to identify the problem.
Use this when you need to understand the real issue. We need to identify what went wrong.
Phrase 6. Let's compare the options.
Use this when you have 2 or more possible solutions. Let's compare the options before we decide.
Phrase 7. We need to consider.
Use this when something is important in your decision. We need to consider the cost. We need to consider everyone's needs.
Phrase 8. Let's evaluate the pros and cons.
This is a little more advanced. It means think carefully about the advantages and disadvantages.
Phrase 9. That doesn't solve the main problem.
Use this when an idea helps a little but doesn't fix the real issue.
Phrase 10. We sorted it out.
Use this when the problem is fixed or resolved. Don't worry, we sorted it out.
Phrase 11. Could you help me sort this out?
Very useful in shops, restaurants, hotels, and customer service.
Phrase 13. I think there may be a mistake.
This is a polite way to say something is wrong.
Phrase 14. It may be worth it.
Use this when something costs more or takes effort, but the result may be good.
Phrase 15. That should solve the problem.
Use this when you think your solution will work.
Now let's review the main verbs.
Figure out means understand or find the answer.
Work out means find the answer, understand, or calculate.
Deal with means handle a problem or difficult situation.
Sort out means fix, organize, or resolve something.
Fix means repair something or correct a mistake.
Solve means find the answer to a problem.
Identify means find or recognize the real issue.
Compare means look at 2 or more options.
Consider means think carefully before deciding.
Evaluate means judge carefully, often by looking at pros and cons.
Resolve means solve a problem, often in a more formal way.
Now try to answer these questions in English.
What problem did you have recently?
How did you deal with it?
What did you check first?
Did you compare different options?
How did you solve the problem?
Write one sentence in the comments.
For example, I had a problem with my booking, but I checked my email and sorted it out.
Or, my file didn't open, so I used a backup copy and fixed the problem.
Thank you for listening to Smart English Studio.
Learn smarter, speak better.
See you in the next lesson.